Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another brand new episode of John and Wendy Explain the World. I am John the Outlaw Rocha. How are you? Joined as always by the great Wendy Lee. Wendy, how are you?
I am good, and I am Wendy today.
I am Wendy today.
I am Wendy. No, it was a real good day. I actually had a plan with a friend, but then something popped up last minute for her. So I was like, don't worry, we'll reschedule. Not a big deal. We're just going to do like a, how do I say this? Like a masked walk around.
Okay.
Be like an outside area. We weren't going to go in, just window shop and just hang out for a little bit. I mean, we're both vaccinated. We're fine. But just as a precaution, because we both, go back and forth on sets a lot, we were going to mask up anyways. But they had a last minute thing that popped up and I was like, hey, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So I got to sleep in a little bit. Oh. And then I got an audition out of nowhere. One of the casting directors messaged me, was like, hey. And I was like, yes. let me just, because I was out running an errand when I was doing this, so I was like, let me just get home real quick.
And that's the thing when you got a good cast, or you got a good relationship with the cast director. It's like, hey, yes, or good, come, record.
I will. Yeah, it was a VO thing, so it was like nice. I didn't have to look too cute.
Even better.
Didn't have to wear. Yeah, didn't have to wear. You know how way they ask you for a full body slate. And you're like, I got to put shoes on.
I got to take off my juicy sweatpants. This sucks.
Exactly that. Because we all know nowadays with the pandemic, we all only look cute from the waist up.
Oh, please. It's true. It's true. Costco is my friend. So we got so much to talk about today. Thank you all so much for joining us here at the top of the show. And for those of you who are going to be joining us as we go along, thank you very much as well. We're going to get into that big news story here with Scarlett Johansson and Disney and Black Widow and all the drama that's happening. The rumors now that Emma Stone is kind of sniffing around this thing for Cruella. I've seen some websites possibly speculating that Emily Blunt might be looking at this for Jungle Cruise that just came out. So this is going to be a big, far-reaching conversation for us to have. We're also going to talk about David Ayer's Suicide Squad tweet. We're going to look at those first set picks from Hawkeye. We're also going to talk Simone Biles stepping away from the Olympics, and we're going to talk about Activision, the walkout. J.K. Simmons coming back to the DCEU. We're going to have some Korea pop or K-pop stuff that we're going to talk about as well. Some SOMI with her Dum Dum teaser trailer that she released. Also, we'll talk about some of the new stuff from Shang-Chi, the Lamb trailer, the last Duel trailer, and then give you some recommendations to carry on with your week or weekend of stuff that you can watch that is going on right now. Wendy, we should definitely jump into the first story. And before we do, just a reminder to everybody, please, the Streamlabs Super Chats are open. It's a Friday. You're relaxed. You're sitting on the couch. We're bringing you lots of smiles. Send in your support of the show. Send in your generous support of the show. Send in your Streamlabs and Super Chat Streamlabs right above our heads. It's in the description of the video, and I'm going to put it in the chat in just a second. So please send in your support through Streamlabs. YouTube takes 50% now on Super Chats. Streamlabs is what we prefer. Trust me on that. So, but thanks to everybody joining us. Let's jump into this thing. Wendy, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, Disney. This is massive news. Scarlett Johansson and her representatives have sued Disney, have filed a lawsuit against Disney, not against Marvel, and we'll clarify that, against Disney because of the day and date release of Black Widow, the fact that it was a great opening weekend and the numbers absolutely plummeted. Her representation team is in essence blaming Disney for putting it on Disney Plus, which avoided repeat viewing in the theater and affected her profits. They're claiming, or they're speculating, that she lost about $50 million worth of profit because they decided to drop this on Disney Plus for people to pay $30, and they could see it multiple times for one fee rather than going to the theater multiple times to see it over and over again and putting some money into the coffers of the studio and the actor. Wendy, untangle this for us. What the hell is this all about?
This is really crazy because of the pandemic, we've been seeing, various studios. Disney's not the only one that does this. WB does it as well. Day and date release for theater and HBO Max. And we had heard from the very beginning that it not just the actors that are involved that are not quite happy with this new format of release schedule. Movie theaters, remember, also had a big kicked up a big storm about that too. Yeah. So famously, AMC in a very public showdown that played out on social media, where I kind of wish that would have played out behind doors. But nonetheless, she is suing Disney over the release schedule or format of a Black Widow, saying that it's not basically in theaters only, and it is going on day and date for Disney Plus, and that it's a breach of her contract. So her contract says that Disney would only release this movie to theaters exclusively. And we were thinking that they were, honestly, as an audience, like without knowing any of this, I was thinking that they were going to do this for a while because they pushed it back and pushed it back and pushed it back. And I thought that they were really going to do this, especially we're seeing, other studios with other movies doing kind of the same thing, doing exclusive. You see Snake Eyes being released exclusively in theaters only. So I honestly was caught off guard when I read this on the internet, when it popped up, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Just because I imagined that there would be some, behind closed doors meetings, private meetings that we're not privy to kind of resolve this, and any questions she may have had, and her team and Disney's team would have worked it out. But I'm guessing it's not so, because she went ahead and she filed, and Disney actually made a statement about her lawsuit as well. I'm trying to pull that up right now. Let's see.
Yeah, they called her claims sad and distressing. And they accused her of showing, quote, a callous disregard for the effects of the COVID-19 crisis. Wendy, they essentially tried to shame her and then released what she made for the movie, $20 million on her salary for the movie. And her representatives have pushed back on this by Disney, because this doesn't happen. This is like a breach of etiquette. And because if the artist should be the one revealing how much they're making for a movie, if they even want to. People hide behind HIPAA for vaccine, but apparently you can tell people, you can out people's salary. And I think Disney is doing this in a response to Scarlett Johansson, her representatives and her lawyers releasing segments of those emails that were exchanged between Scarlett Johansson's representatives and Disney and Marvel over the 2019, over the negotiation in 2019 about Black Widow. So they're coming at her for her money, but a number of people are already responding angrily towards Disney's tactics here. Disney is not looking good here. I mean, you're attacking the first female superhero in your MCU universe, not chronologically, because that's a Captain Marvel chronology, but
correct.
But actually the first one in real time, Scarlett Johansson. You dragged your feet for 10 to 12 years to give her a solo movie because of Ike Perlmutter and all the stuff that was going on there during that time. You didn't put her or include her in a number of the Avengers toys that you put out. She was always conspicuously missing. And now you finally released the movie, and she probably tried to negotiate behind closed doors. And when Disney was like, nah, or was responding in an arrogant way, she took it public. And now all kinds of people having opinions about this. This is looking bad on Disney. And you could argue if Captain Marvel could make $1 billion, Black Widow in a normal market could have made $1 billion if they had not put it out onto streaming services.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't blame, the actress, the talent for trying to get her coins, when she was when she signed and she said, okay, this, and it's not like she didn't put in the work. And I'm not saying look how much money she's making. Who cares if she doesn't get this much? It's like, well, no, she was contractually obligated to be paid this much. Therefore, I don't think it's in the wrong for her to be filing a lawsuit to get her money. And I see online two people calling her greedy or whatever. And I was like, well, if you were promised for your amount of work to be equal to this amount of money, would you not be upset if the company decided to not give you the money after you voice your concern? That was the thing, is that when as more of this unfolds, and we're not seeing all the details here. We're only seeing what they're giving us. So I think there's definitely a lot more details that we're definitely missing. But you know, her lawyer is putting out the previous conversation in email form, basically saying that this isn't like a new thing that she decided to do once she saw the numbers, and she was concerned about this prior already. Right. So there is that, and I really do wonder how this is going to play out, because this is huge, and as you said, other actors are perhaps seeking, maybe walking down the same route. We don't know. Nothing's been confirmed about that, but their names are swirling around right now, especially for Emma Stone, for Emily Blunt, whose movie just came out. So we will see where this goes. Rocha, you earlier mentioned that this is Disney and not Marvel. Can you clarify that a little bit for us?
And I'll take this off the article that I was looking at here. Let me bring it up real quick, because they made sure to delineate the difference here. This is getting it from Variety there at the bottom. It said one oddity of the complaint is that Johansson sued Disney and not Marvel, right? It's subsidiary. Marvel is subsidiary of Disney. Though the suit states that Marvel breached her contract, it does not assert a breach of contract claim against Marvel. Instead, it accuses Disney, the parent company, of interfering with Marvel's contract with Johansson and of inducing Marvel to breach it. A possible explanation is that the Marvel contract includes an arbitration provision which would require any claims against Marvel to be handled privately. That leaves Johansson's lawyers in the position of arguing that Disney and Marvel are separate entities capable of interfering with each other's contracts. But these issues, they're speculating these issues might not get very far in court. And one insider they quote as saying this is going to settle. But I think this is a very important distinction here. She is suing Disney, who owns Marvel. She is not suing Marvel. This is a way, I think, of kind of appealing to the more business aspect of this all, and not a personal aspect of this all. Like, this is business. This is money. You're an entity. I'm an entity. I'm a business. My brand is the business. Scarlett Johansson is the brand of the business. So you need to pay this brand what you owe me. Marvel, you forced Marvel into this position because they are underneath you. They're a subsidiary of you. So this is almost, in a way, kind of keeping the bridges still constructed between her and Marvel in case Black Widow or Natasha ever wants to make a comeback or ever can be scheduled for a comeback. But she's willing to burn the bridges a little bit with Disney because she thinks she thinks eventually down the road they could be repaired once they come to a resolution or a settlement. And sometimes, Wendy, you know this, sometimes it backfires, but sometimes it works out. When you meet strength with strength, you get a little more respect from the person who you're going, or the entity you're going up against, because they respect your strength and they'll deal with you at that level because they're used to bullying most people because they can. And so I think Scarlett making this distinction is really important. And yeah, I agree with you, Wendy. I don't want to hear anybody complaining that, oh, she's being greedy. Oh, she's making too much. Fuck you. She is an entity. She has worked hard to build this brand to be Scarlett Johansson. And she has delivered on numerous occasions. And the amount of crap she's taken over the last 12 years for Black Widow from fans who are like, what does she do? She just shoots guns. It's not that big of a deal. or fans who see her as adjacent to the Avengers, or as she spoke about in interviews, that Black Widow was presented essentially as a piece of meat in Iron Man 2, and some of the misogyny that went on behind that. So she's endured a lot to stay with this character and bring good performances out to great performances out, depending on the movie. So I think she has a right to go get as much as you can, just like any athlete has a right to go get as much as they can from the market. If the market demands it and the market can bear it, you can do that. And Disney cried about COVID-19 after they laid off 30,000 workers. You can skip me with that crap. You can skip me with that. This is a lot of posturing overall. Do you think this is going to get settled behind closed doors, Wendy? Do you think this is just a blow up and then eventually they'll go and settle it behind closed doors? And what do you think about her suing Disney but not Marvel?
So I think, well, to answer your final question first, she's suing Disney because not Marvel, because Disney's the one with the money. Marvel's her paycheck. Okay, in a business sense, is not saying Marvel doesn't have money, but Disney is the distributor, the Walt Disney Company, who owns Marvel now. So suing Marvel isn't going to do anything to help her case.
I'm not suing your son. I'm suing your daddy, son. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, good.
Because when the check, you can work for Marvel, but that check, okay, for example, Disney owns many companies, right? If you do a shoot or something like that for ABC, the check is going to say the Walt Disney Company. How do I know? Because I did a gig for, it was meant for an ABC family thing before. The check came and it had the mouse on it. So, well, it didn't have the mouse. It said the Walt Disney Company, whatever. So it may have had the mouse on it. I don't know. I have to look. It was a few years ago, and that's why she's suing. So it's a very business thing. It's not like you get to pick and choose. Like, her lawyers obviously figured it out which was the best route to go, and it's Disney that's making. I would like to think Disney's making the decision to release her movie Black Widow, in theaters and on Disney Plus simultaneously. I just wonder now with this, and we'll hop back into the rest of your questions. Are other actors going to follow suit? Because I think so far they haven't, and if they had, we just hadn't heard about it because. Kind of going back to your question is things are they're going to get settled, and it's going to get settled behind closed doors with mediator or whatever it may be. People are going to talk and have meetings, and then they're going to reach a settlement, and then that'll be that. Yeah. But it's news right now because it's huge, right? It's Scarlett Johansson, who's literally played this character for like 10 plus years, is all of a sudden, and she's even, I think there was news earlier, she was in talks. Or maybe to produce and star in like a Tower of Terror film for Disney. Yeah. Yes. So I think that's why this is like big news, because she like Black Widow isn't the only role that she'll ever have with Disney. She was also in the Jungle Book. Yeah. So
right. Is the voice of
is the voice of so to your second question, I don't think we're going to, the next time we hear is probably they settled, and I don't know if they will post the numbers. I don't know if like what's allowed and what's not allowed. I was kind of surprised when I was reading sort of the back and forth between Scarlett Johansson's team and Disney's team, like, via all these news articles like Deadline and Variety, that like they were just like putting out what she was making on paper like that. And I was like, isn't that like a sort of a private thing, or is a company allowed to do that?
I don't think it's a breach of personal etiquette to be putting
I see.
business on the streets. Like, you put someone's salary on the street, and it's also, as a woman, it's a bit like I think it's a terrible decision to make. You're undercutting a woman. I mean, women have fought so hard in Hollywood and other arenas and across the world, other businesses across the world, to get paid equal to men, right? I mean, the pay disparity has been a thing that a lot of female actresses have come out and spoken about, and rightfully so in some cases, and not in some other cases, maybe not so much, but in a lot of cases, rightfully so, saying, hey, I'm just as famous as that guy. I should have gotten the same amount as him. Now going forward, I want to be able to negotiate in better faith, in complete faith, and get what they're getting, right? But issuing how much she made without her permission, I think, is a bit of a violation of her own, of her brand, and a violation of her as a person, really, to be honest with you. Forget the brand. Like, that's not your business to put my business in the streets. She put emails out there to prove
that she had concern about this, right?
Exactly. The email said, you will get theatrical distribution of this film, and then the standard 90 to 120 day wait time before it goes to streaming or DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. And she thought that meant a theatrical exclusive showing. The thing is, she hasn't said anything up until this point. So we have to ask this question: is this happening because Black Widow tanked so hard in the box office after the first weekend, and so she's like, well, I'm going to get my money. I deserve to get my money. Right. And her analysts look at the streaming situation and we're like, well, where's the money from this that we're going to get, right?
Yeah. I mean, potentially, right? Because what we know now is what they're giving to the public, when journalists, when they make the phone calls, what, both teams on both sides are able to give. And that's all the information we have. We definitely don't have all the information. I will say that right now, as detailed as all of these articles are, and as hard as these journalists chase, and they chase hard, because they want to report facts as much as they can. So they don't have to like go back later and retract stuff. But there's only so much each team will give you. There's still a lot of stuff that they have to keep private for their own sake.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of things that we're not seeing here, but I still believe that she is not in the wrong to file a lawsuit. I think if you were promised an X amount of whatever in your contract, then you ought to be paid that amount of contract. So and later on we'll see how this plays out. If I really do think they're going to settle like behind closed doors. I don't think this is going to go further than where it is now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Feige's gotten involved in this, according to
I read that.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, a newsletter, which is former Hollywood Reporter editor Matthew Belloni. Feige apparently lobbied Disney to keep Black Widow as a theatrical only release to not upset Johansson. Apparently, Kevin Feige is, quote, angry and embarrassed over Disney's response to Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit, feeling the company did not do enough to make it right with one of the Marvel stars. Says Feige is a company man and prone to corporate showdowns or shouting matches, but I'm told he's angry and embarrassed. He lobbied Disney against the day-and-date plan for Black Widow, preferring the big screen exclusivity and not wanting to upset his talent. Furthermore, the report says that when, quote, the shit hit the fan, the movie started tanking and Johansson's team threatened litigation. Feige tried to get Disney to make this right with her, and they did not. So this is a large portion of her set.
It's blown up a bit.
Right. And MK Songbird in the chat told us what Justin Kroll tweeted. It's not just reps. Heard from some former Disney execs who said with anything outside the Marvel series is just a joke when it comes to what they offer talent, and makes it hard for both sides to try to put something together when everyone knows the money will be so low. Yeah.
Then it's like not worth going to court.
Right. And that's
what they're saying?
Well, they're also saying that Disney has this kind of leverage to offer you crap money to work on their projects, because where else are you going to go for the exposure you get being in a Disney project? So in their minds, they can lowball you on stuff outside of Marvel. And they're saying this is a standard practice. And so Scarlett getting caught up in this a little bit is just, a bit unsettling for sure. And I don't know where this ends up. And you're right to speculate about other actors. I mentioned Emma Stone earlier. Some people are speculating she might have. She's curious to see how this goes out. Also, Variety reported that the standard for most actors right now at the level that Scarlett is $20 million a movie, and it hasn't gone up that much. It hasn't gone up from that. But they think now that you can negotiate or explore the streaming situation, that there's a way to negotiate more money. And remember, HBO Max they rolled it out incorrectly, but they made it up to everybody by paying them money on the back end with Gal Gadot, with Maddie Murphy, with Patty Jenkins, with a number of people who had stuff coming out. They paid what Denzel Washington, they paid what they estimated would have been the money they'd make in a theatrical release of their projects so they could go on streaming. But this could threaten to open not only the negotiations here that happen with talent, but also force Disney to start issuing streaming numbers, issuing what is the real amount they're making. I think that's the next step. I think it's a fucking crime that these streaming services don't release the numbers for their projects. Then talent has no idea how well a project is doing, and reporters don't have an idea either to gauge whether this streaming service is a good streaming service or not, and whether there's profit being made on these movies or TV shows or what have you, original content that's on there. And I think that's important to find out, Wendy.
Yeah, I really would like to know, because streaming it's not new, but it's also new at the same time, because we hadn't in the past had to deal with, day-to-day streaming and theatrical release. Right. And I do have a hard time finding the exact numbers. And when I do find numbers, they seem off or a little different. So, and it's like we don't know how to read it from what we know about box office. Yeah. So, because for box office, theatrical releases, typically the movie theater doesn't make the money on the opening weekend. It all goes right back to the studio. Yep. And then it's the following weekend that we see the movie theaters make a little money. So it's you really do wonder, the streaming, there's no movie theater, there's no middle person. It's your platform. Yeah. So I wonder where that is. And I think this could potentially walk us down the route where all streaming services are going to start, or people are at least going to be, I'm not saying they have to release, they can release whatever they want, but I think people are going to be maybe looking for a little bit harder.
Yeah, and I hope talent starts to sue these streaming services to get them to release numbers for their projects. I think that's fair. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do see what you're saying. I also wanted to, one of the points you made earlier is, and I think it was MK's thing, that like unless you're like within the Marvel world, they don't pay you that much or as much, right? But I wonder then, what about talents like Will Smith, who was in Aladdin? What about talents like Emily Blunt in The Rock, who was in the Jungle Cruise, or Emma Stone? You know, like I don't feel like these actors can get lowballed, like they're so established.
Those can. But what about Daisy Ridley, who came in with only 6 episodes of a TV show? Or John Boyega, who had done Attack the Block, but not much else? Or Oscar Isaac, who was kind of still building a resume himself. Even Diego Luna, who wasn't leading any movies in the English market. You can negotiate a better situation. Tamora Morrison, I'm sure, ain't making millions of dollars to play Boba Fett. Or I don't know what Pedro Pascal is making. So they're negotiating certain deals based on certain situations, and that's standard.
That's true. Yeah,
Disney is lowballing hard. You know, that's another part of this thing that should be revealed. I think. You know, I think everything should be out in the open. I
think people moving forward, people are going to be asking before they sign that contract. Kind of to Deeds is saying in the chat here that they're going to be asking for different language to be built into their contract. So I've never seen one of those contracts. I would have no idea what I am reading. I'm not a lawyer. I would have to send it to my lawyer and my agent for them to figure out what is best for the talent. So this is just I remember doing a double take and I was like, why is she trending? You know, because Black Widow came out like 2 weeks ago and I was like, oh, that's like a late trend. I mean, great for her. But then I was like, oh, it's not really the best news. Okay. Yeah.
Don't mess with Scarlett Johansson, ladies and gentlemen. Do not mess with that woman. She's a boss.
There's some of her past performances that I don't love, but I can't take away from the fact that she's literally busted her ass for Black Widow for so many years. Absolutely. You know, so pertaining to this specific, like I am definitely like, go get your money, girl.
Yeah, get paid. Rodney P says WB sure seems like the good guy in all this same day release streaming wars now, don't they? Yeah, I guess.
Well, it's just because they dealt with it first, is all.
Right, exactly. They dealt with the backlash first as well, and then handled it and paid people out. I don't know if they seem like the good guy, but they seem like maybe they learned the lesson guy. I think that's maybe a better description than good guy. So, but thanks for the Streamlab. Appreciate that. Remember, the Streamlab's right above Wendy's head. It's also in the description of the video, and it's pinned to the chat. So send some support as we go along. What are your thoughts on Black Widow? Send us some Streamlabs questions about the Black Widow situation. What are your opinions? What are your feelings about that as we go along as well? All right, Wendy, let's move on to this next story. This is David Ayer. Speaking of some drama as well, David Ayer.
Why is it so dramatic lately? What's with this week?
Everybody's out now.
What's happening?
The Delta variant coming back. People are freaking out. So
no, stop it.
Oh man, Ayer came out onto Twitter and released pictures of his overall message about his version of Suicide Squad and the David Ayer cut. He wrote in this tweet, and I'm gonna read it real quick, just some of the highlights. I put my life into Suicide Squad. I made something amazing. My cut is intricate and emotional journey with some bad people who are shit on and discarded. A theme that resonates in my soul. The studio cut is not my movie. Read that again. And my cut is not the 10-week director's cut. It's a fully mature edit by Lee Smith, standing on the incredible work by John Gilroy. It's all Stephen Price's brilliant score with not a single radio song in the whole thing. It has traditional character arcs, amazing performances, a solid third-act resolution, and a handful of people have seen it. He said, I never told my side of the story and never will. I'm old school like that, so I kept my mouth shut and took the tsunami of sometimes shocking personal criticism. He said he's proud of James Gunn because the Suicide Squad coming out next week, and I support WB and I'm thrilled the franchise is getting the legs it needs. James's brilliant work will be the miracles of miracles. I will no longer speak publicly on the matter. Now, his initial tweet, that was like the last page of the tweet, but the first two pages were all about how he grew up in a hard scrabble life and he was homeless and grew up in some hardcore places and did all the things that he did. And then eventually someone took a shine to him and kind of guided him as a screenwriter. And this is how he ended up on Training Day and then ended up building a career as a director as well. So this is fascinating because a lot of people have asked him about this, but he's also tweeted pictures. He tried to go the Zack Snyder route a little bit, but now it seems like with this latest barrage of messages that he is done talking about an Ayer cut, done advocating for an Ayer cut. He just wanted to make it really, really clear that one does exist. and that the one that came out was not his movie. So what do you think about all of this, Wendy? There's a lot of drama here.
Yeah, and I mean, like the hashtag, the release the Ayer cut is not a new thing. Right. You know, and I am a little bit not surprised we're seeing this kind of come about as, you know, James Gunn's version of Suicide Squad is about to be released, because, you know, people did blast on David Ayer's version of Suicide Squad. I myself didn't love it. There's parts of it that I really liked. But then there was, I felt like it was edited down a little bit too much for my liking. Like, yeah, you guys know, you've seen the movie probably. I like that he was able to, you know, on his own platform, on his own personal Twitter, be able to, you know, write down what he felt about his movie making experience, and to kind of maybe just another, because he's kind of reiterated this before, but this is way more in detail, kind of giving us his background on his life story about training days and about what happened, that he put, I think there's a lot of hurt back in his heart, because he said in the last like 2 paragraphs, put a lot of my life into Suicide Squad. He believed he made something amazing. He you know, made it an intricate and emotional journey, and he with some bad people who are shit and discarded, which kind of like lines up with, like, you know, his personal earlier life, which is why he opened his whole tweet with that. So is the point just kind of telling us, guys, like, I'm this is, maybe I'm saying it once and that once last time, and this is it?
Yeah.
You know, that was not my cut. I had more depth, more story. I'm not saying he had a 4-hour cut, four and a half hour cut like Snyder did, but, you know, he's kind of saying there's more than meets the eyes. There's a lot that got left on the cutting room floor, or decisions that were changed, or however it is that gave us the final version of that Suicide Squad. So do you think, though, by putting this out, like, is he hoping for the release of the Ayer cut?
Yes, I do. I know men, and I know men like me who've struggled and fought and feel victimized sometimes, or feel persecuted sometimes, real or imagined. I know what that feeling is like. And certainly know I've had people in my life who've had to kind of walk me through certain situations where I felt certain things were going on, but then realized that wasn't. And it seems to me like with David Ayer here in this situation, I think he's afraid that the Suicide Squad, how can I say this? Not afraid, but I think he's maybe concerned. How about that? That the Suicide Squad is coming out next week, and everyone is going to renew their attacks and say, see, it's better. James Gunn's a better director. This film is a better film. That's a real Suicide Squad movie. Whatever David Ayer did, that was crap. And so I think he's kind of girding himself or shielding himself.
Okay.
So it's a preemptive strike to a degree to say, hey, there is a cut that exists that is my cut. No one has seen it. Only a handful of people have seen it. Anyone who tells you they've seen it, they're lying. Only a handful of people have seen it. And I know every single person who's seen it, and they won't tell you that they've seen it. I swore them to secrecy. So there's this cut that exists. And so by him putting that out there, he's in essence trying to undercut some of the criticism that might be coming his way from the fandom, who are not going to be quiet. You know, the DC fans can be quite loud and can be quite boisterous, as any fandom is. And so he's worried that they're concerned that they might come after him. So he's essentially setting up his defenses already from the possible attacks. But he's also not going after WB. He said, I love WB. I want to work with them again. I wish them the best. And he's giving James Gunn all kinds of love. So it's a political message combined with a very unique look and vulnerable and honest look into this dude's previous life and the stuff he endured. I had no idea he endured the stuff he endured.
Yeah, same.
Right? I thought he was just a guy who wanted to get into Hollywood, found his way in, and makes these kinds of movies. And I tend to believe him, Wendy, about the cut, because I don't think I've seen a David Ayer movie I didn't like. I liked End of Watch. I liked Fury. So it surprised me when I saw Suicide Squad. I'm like, this is not a David Ayer movie. So the fact that there is a separate cut that exists somewhere, maybe this is his passive-aggressive way of kind of pushing the fans without saying he wants the fans to be pushed, to push WB to release this cut. I think WB would lose no political clout or no PR clout if they went back in and if the cut's legitimately finished, that they release it. And John Boyega retweeted David Ayer and said, release the not John. I'm sorry. Ray Fisher retweeted David Ayer and said, release the Ayer cut. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I applaud him for telling his side of the truth for sure. I think, and he seemed like he really wanted to get that off his chest. Now, why wouldn't you want to get things off your chest after something you put, as he said in the tweet, his whole life into? I think he feels a very close connection with it. And also, I think to your point, he is maybe putting up a little bit of that shield to kind of brace himself for the probably most likely going to happen some of the comparisons, because it's hard to not, like, I feel like I haven't seen it yet, but I feel like when we talk about, when there's the movie of the same name with the same character, like literal same actors cast in those roles, it's not going to, like, I feel like it's almost human nature to kind of want to compare just a little bit, even though you know that it's two completely different directors and two very different stories. Even though you know that, I think some of us tend to want to do a little bit of comparison. So I feel a little bad that I think he was like deeply hurt by a lot of the criticisms. And sure, you can say like, oh, it's Hollywood, get a thick skin and all that stuff. Like, no, believe you me, us in Hollywood, we have like people working in this industry, we have the toughest skin. Like, you have no idea. Like we're told we're not good enough for anything and everything. I've been told, anyways.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. But so I think it was natural for this to eventually come about. Like, it's kind of been tiptoeing there, little hashtag here, little hashtag there, release the Ayer cut here, and now it's like full-fledged here in like a very long tweet.
Yeah. It's very honest.
You think they'll do it? You think? That's the question.
I don't know. And the reason I don't know, well, look, they took a lot of PR flack for Zack Snyder's Justice League. And because the Monday after that came out, they tried to change the narrative. They tried to be like, well, that was of a past. We're moving forward. We got all these multicultural, we got black people, Latinos, and we're bringing all these people in to represent them in our movies. And then a few weeks later, you're like, oh, you're going to send them all to HBO Max. All the people of color movies you're sending to HBO Max. What the fuck? So this whole crowing about how you've kind of, opened the door to more people of color and whatever, it kind of loses its power when you're removing it off theatrical releases, because that implies you don't have faith in it to do well in the theater, and putting it on a small screen on HBO Max for people to watch who pay $15 a month. So there's just something about that look that looks bad. And then people started coming out, restore the Snyderverse. And, Zach was kind of pushing it for a little bit, but now it seems like he's let it go for now. Right. So I think it'll depend on how people respond to this. And if there is a cut, I always believe that if a studio knows there's a cut, they should just sign it over to the director if they're never going to release it. Because I think that's a shitty thing to do to a creative. If you've got his cut and you maul his cut, it comes out and it just gets a crap ton of ridicule. Then you have every right to give him his cut back, his cut of the film back, I think.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I think I lost my camera. Hold on a second. Oh, am I still here?
Yeah, you're verbally still here, audio.
Now we're a podcast. Give me 2 quick seconds. I'll
Wendy
switch
always makes the best out of any situation. She always in a quick way.
Let me go ahead and just redo a little plug-in. That was weird.
That's cool.
My monitor just went out. There it goes. Am I back?
There it is. Right.
I can't see myself. Aha! Yeah, there. Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather. I want to see that cut. I would love to see David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad. Just to, I would love to see his point of view. So, do I think it'll ever happen? You never say never after Zack Snyder's Justice League, but Wendy, that took such a monumental.
That's
that's
a part of it. Is there's the fan, the outcry, and the desire of the fans who really wanted to see his cut.
Yeah,
it's a huge movement that wasn't just a national thing. It wasn't just the US fans. It wasn't international. Like
Right.
it was like a fan in China that was like, I really want to see this, and started the whole movement. So I don't think we're going to see the Ayer cut. I would love it for him.
Right.
For it to get released, obviously. And I am also curious about it because Katana was in it for so little that I would have wished a little bit more from her backstory. But I just don't know if there's enough people who want it as passionately as they did with the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We shall see. All right,
we shall see.
Let's see if we got any Streamlabs Super Chats. No. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Send in some support for the show here. Send in your Streamlabs Super Chats. Got 120 of you all watching us right now. Thank you very much. Sorry, please make sure you hit that. Yeah, thank you. Please make sure you hit that like button as well. That thumbs up button. Hit that like button. Get us as close to 100 likes, if not over 100 likes by the end of the show. We would appreciate that. And definitely send in some support from us. Streamlabs address right above Wendy's head. Description of the chat. Or pinned in the chat, rather, and description of this video as well. Let us know your thoughts. Send in some support here. All right, let's move on to our next topic here, Wendy, and that is J.K. Simmons is coming back.
He's back.
He's negotiating to come back as Commissioner Gordon in Batgirl, the movie that's, as I mentioned, the movie that's heading to HBO Max, but being headlined by Latina actress Leslie Grace from In the Heights. So he is negotiating. So Barbara Gordon is Batgirl. Barbara Gordon is James Gordon's daughter, Jim Gordon's daughter. J.K. Simmons, white. Leslie Grace, Latina. So what are we working on here? Is it going to be a father-daughter situation? Do we have a mom to talk about? What do you think? Do you like this idea that he's coming back first? And B, how do you think they'll make it work in Batgirl?
I mean, I love him so much.
Yeah. It's true
that it's hard for me to say no. I don't want J.K. Simmons to come back. No, so there's nowhere in like my body that I would not want him to come back. It is going to be interesting to see how they're going to introduce the two of them and what their relationship is. Are they father-daughter? Are they like what is she? Do we even know her? She is playing. Like the name is Barbara Gordon. We know this, right?
Yes. It's supposed to be Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. Yes.
Well, then they're related.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mom, I feel like then will have a small part in this. But maybe a bigger part. Who knows?
Yeah. Gotta be to see that. Gotta be a Latina mom, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. It just makes me happy because it feels like for me now it's JK's he's in the MCU and he's in the DCEU.
Incredible.
As very iconic characters. It's fantastic.
He's being brought back for both of the multiverses. He is one of the few people that's going to be involved, I imagine, in both of the multiverses.
Yeah.
But this also makes it kind of clear, don't you think, Wendy, that Jeffrey Wright, his version of James Gordon that is in The Batman, is not going to be part of the overall multiverse storyline that they seem to be working on, don't you think? Because unless you've got multiple James Gordons, then you've got a different Batman and different. I guess that could work.
You can have that. They've been playing with the multiverse for a little bit over there. Yeah. So it can happen because Jeffrey Wright is also phenomenal.
Yeah.
So it is a choice to bring J.K. Simmons back, but also at the same time, like I think people just enjoy his portrayal so much.
Oh yeah,
that it makes sense for it to come back. And I want to shout out to our chat here, Level Trading. I see Stepdad. It's possible.
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. There's Stepdad, and then Senor Nerd says, wasn't in the original comic Barbara Gordon actually Jim's niece, who he adopted?
Yep, that's a way to go for sure.
Yeah, that is the way to go because they haven't really given us any specific details on Barbara Gordon as of yet. So that can be like definitely going the route of the comics, which I wouldn't mind seeing at all. I'm liking this team up though. I'm curious to see the writing in this and what kind of dialogue we're going to get between the two.
Yeah, agreed. And I like it. I mean, both of them work so well together in separate projects. So seeing them together in this could be a lot of fun for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
It could be adopted. Someone says Coco Shake says it could be adopted. Joseph Ashley asking Jeffrey Wright Latino? No.
No,
what?
he's.
What? No one says Latino. What are you talking about?
We just like him.
Yeah, we just like him.
He's also kind of in both universes. He's the narrator for the What If series.
Oh, right, Jeffrey Wright. Yes.
Yeah, and because that voice, and then he's also, and that's funny.
That is funny.
I want to get to that point in my career where I can be both DCEU and MCU.
That's money.
Oh, cool.
Gnome Science says, do you think the casting was a response to the backlash at Grace's casting? I think she'll be great, but it did rile some up. Man, Gnome, you're always going to rile people up, but I think this was in motion for quite some time. There's no way that this wasn't. You don't just go, oh my God, we better get a white guy. That's not a studio response right now. That is not a studio response right now. So, no, I don't think so at all. I think they knew they were going to get shit for casting a Latina in the Batgirl role. So they braced themselves for that, but they're going to go forward with it. And I guarantee you, she's going to deliver a fantastic performance.
She's going to be so good. She's going to be so good. Can't wait to see the costume on her.
Yeah. What? This can't.
She's got that jawline. Sorry, what?
Is this real? Gerard Butler is planning to sue Millennium Media for at least $10 million for compensation after the success of Olympus Has Fallen. Jesus,
whoa, what?
It's got nothing to do with streaming. All right, let's see here. All right, Bleeding Green said,
oh my gosh, it's on Twitter. It's on Variety's Twitter.
It's real? Oh, wow.
Yeah, here, let me read the tweet. Breaking news, folks. Gerard Butler has filed a lawsuit alleging that he is owed at least $10 million in the back-end compensation for the 2013 action film Olympus Has Fallen. He sued New Image / Millennium Film, claiming that the producer had understated domestic and foreign receipts by tens of millions of dollars and had failed to report $8 million that went to its own executives. The film grossed $170 million worldwide and spawned 2 successful sequels, London Has Fallen and Angel Has Fallen, which Butler repraised his role. And then, quote here, producers have earned tens of millions of dollars from Olympus, but refused to pay Butler a penny of the grosses and profit promised to him in parties' agreement. Butler refused to tolerate defendants' misrepresentation and other wrongful conduct. Butler worked with defendants to create a highly successful movie franchise. He demands his fair share, and that's what the suit is. And you can read the full story on Variety.com.
There you go. Oh, interesting.
Whoa. Look at what is this happening? Man, somebody said earlier in the chat, remember I was like, why is all this drama? Somebody dropped in something about a money moon, so now I'm going to have to look up what the money moon is.
Money moon?
The money moon. Money moon is an energized prosperity tool that helps us draw a positive, affirming focus of abundance in all of its many forms.
Ooh. All right. I got some
I know. I was like, can I get some money? Money moon.
I love this from Senior Nerd. The revolution has begun. Yeah, there you go. From Korg.
That's pretty good, Korg. Nice.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I this is not the first time Tom Hanks sued Warner Brothers, I think, for Forrest Gump money, claiming because the studio claimed, boldface claimed that they lost money on Forrest Gump. And so they couldn't pay Tom his back end points. So he sued the crap out of them to get his money. So never doubt a studio or producers that they never doubt that they won't try to get as much money as possible and screw over the talent as many ways as they can. That's producers like to make their money so they can go and fund other crap and try to make money off of that as well. So they're always going to screw over the talent. Almost always, at least the big time producers, right? I'm not
unfortunate.
That is unfortunate, but it's probably true. All right. Bleeding Green says, no question. Just thanks for the great content. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bleeding Green.
It's very kind.
Love it. Thank you.
Doug Developer says, hi, John and Wendy. What are your thoughts on Amanda Knox condemning Stillwater for profiting off her name as, quote, an Amanda Knox saga? And what do you think of critics now rescinding their recommendation and refusing to support the film for award contention?
Oh, I didn't know about the second part. I haven't even gotten to watch the movie. I've been so busy in my own little world here. I haven't had the chance. And honestly, I did read Amanda Knox actually tweeted on the whole thread that you can read on her Twitter if you have it, talking about that. I didn't even realize, and I don't know, it's maybe because I only saw one trailer, so it didn't stick in my head that they used her name in the trailer, that this is essentially the they called it the Amanda Knox saga or something like that. I don't know. I didn't realize that they had used any of that at all,
Right.
as far as the wording goes, her name specifically, until I read her tweet. So I feel like now I might view the movie just a little bit differently. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I usually like to go in with a very blank slate, but I literally read that thread last night. John, you were telling me that you were going to see the movie. I don't know if you got to see the movie yet.
I've seen it twice.
Oh, okay.
Twice, and I went to 2 screenings for it. This is the greatest performance Matt Damon has ever delivered in a movie.
Wow.
Okay, it's an incredible performance. I am still figuring out how I feel about this, because I have a really hard time with people telling you not to go see a movie, because that to me is censorship. It is no different than the religious right telling you not to go see Last Temptation of Christ when they hadn't seen the movie, or people being upset about the Passion of the Christ. I think you put movies out, but to encourage people not to go see it, especially when I see liberals doing this, when I see people who are creatives telling people not to go see movies, that's censorship. So censorship does not only apply to liberals, okay? Like censorship is a uniform thing. So you should not be telling people not to go see things. That is, it's different when you're reviewing a film and you go, the film sucks, I wouldn't go see it if I were you. That's different. Telling people straight up about a film you haven't seen not to go see it, I think that's censorship. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate Amanda Knox's point of view. I don't appreciate where she came from and the things she said. I have my own thoughts about that situation. They're my own thoughts. But I can assure you the film is not about that. That is an element of the film. But the film is about Matt Damon's journey. It is not about an Amanda Knox story. Are there elements to the Abigail Breslin situation? Are there similar elements? Absolutely. But the film itself is not about her story. It's about his story as he negotiates what he's negotiating as a father to this girl. But I don't think in any way they were like, taking her. I mean, if by this route, you can sue Law and Order for any of their episodes that are stripped from the headlines. How many criminals get a chance to sue Law and Order for using a crime they were or accused or falsely accused that they used those stories, right? I mean, how many Amy Fisher movies did they do? How many? Where was the outcry to stop doing Amy Fisher movies? I just find this to be fascinating that people pick and choose certain moments to be upset about certain things. If I write a film about a first lady whose husband is assassinated in Dallas, do I have to go to the Jackie Kennedy Onassis Federation or Legacy or Foundation and ask permission to do so? I don't think so. And I don't think this was a blatant ripoff of Amanda Knox's stories. That's my opinion. Now, you can have a different opinion, and I totally respect you have a different opinion. I just don't agree with that necessarily. And I
understood.
Yeah. And I just think it's wrong. And people rescinding their nomination, don't get me started. The film was already at 68% on Rotten Tomatoes because I think because it's a MAGA story. It's about a MAGA dad. And I think there are a lot of liberal critics who didn't want to like the movie because it's about a MAGA dad. And so they're more than happy to rescind any kind of support for the movie. I don't want to say all of them. I'm saying that might be an element. The other part of this also, like they went after Richard Jewell because Clint Eastwood directed it. They went after Rambo Last Blood because Stallone directed it. So there is this contingent of critics that want to bash or bury films that they see from Republican or conservative filmmakers because they don't reflect their politics. And that bothers me. So that's my point of view on this. And don't give me the sanctimonious that every critic does exactly. Don't give me that, because they also voted for Don Cheadle to be a supporting actor in Emmy. So please. But that's my point of view on this situation. And in no way am I trying to remove Amanda Knox's offense or her point of view on this or anything, but she admits that she hasn't seen the movie. So this is part of it. I think that's important to kind of navigate on this. So yeah. All right. Anyway. And I agree, Death Star Kitty. If they used her name in the credits or in the trailer as Wendy's pointed out, I think that's incorrect. And I agree with that.
And I don't know if they did or not. I'm gonna do a quick quick look at that trailer because I don't remember, because I feel like that would have caught my eye for someone who like well, everybody knows about this case.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah. But
also, you know, when you're watching a trailer for the first time, your eyes sometimes don't register everything.
That is what censorship is, David, because critics carry weight, carry power. Internet, social media carries power. And if you're browbeating people for supporting a movie, for liking a movie, that's you trying to encourage people to not support the movie. That's censorship. Okay. That is censorship. It may not be this definition of censorship, but it is a form of censorship. So there's not just one definition for censorship. There are multiple ways things can be censored. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah. So I'm just looking at I haven't looked. I don't think because we're in the middle of a show here.
Yeah.
I literally just looked at the official trailer, which was published on May 11, 2021 onto YouTube. Okay. Nowhere in the trailer, and I'm not listening to. I'm just kind of, you know how they have title cards that come up that would say like inspired by the Amanda Knox story. Wow. I didn't see that in the trailer, and I'm looking in the description, and it doesn't say that. Sure, you can change the description of a video later on, but you can't change what goes into the video without having to re-upload. So that so far is not in there.
Okay.
But again, I'm looking at literally one trailer out of the many.
Yeah.
You know, that they probably have made. So
yeah.
Just wanted to look into that.
Doug wanted to know. I'll give you my opinion, Doug. So
there you go.
All right. Should we move on, Wendy, or do you want to say anything on this? Okay.
No, let's do it.
Okay. The Activision walkout. What can you tell us about that? I know it's a follow-up on the story from last week.
Yeah. So you guys know that there's a hefty lawsuit going on against from the state of California going on against Activision for their just horrible, like, to call it toxic workplace doesn't even compare because it is so awful. It's there's sexual harassment allegations, there's abuse of power, there's unequal pay and all of that. So amidst all this, the employees staged a walkout on Wednesday morning to protest the company's handling of sexual harassment and discrimination charges. And all they're asking is for the studio for ending mandatory arbitration in all employment contracts. And until all these demands are met, we won't stop fighting. And this is from a quote from the walkout representative. On Wednesday, I believe it was like 200, I don't know how many in California. They basically stood shoulder to shoulder and it spanned across 2 city blocks, holding signs that would read, "Send the frat boys back to school," or "Women in video game industry deserve a safe place to work." And people, other influencers, gamers alike who have a large platform telling people who are supportive of the walkout to not stream Activision or Blizzard games, don't download their stuff, don't sign into their stuff, don't cross the picket line, let the employees do their protest. So yeah, this is huge. I think it's been a long time for women in gaming have dealt with, and not just game developers. I think female gamers have gotten a lot of abuse online as well. Like I've seen some personal friends of mine when they play, they get tons of unnecessary abuse. They're just playing a game. It's a video game, guys. Like, I know it's fun, and I know it's important to rank if that's really important to you, especially in like competitive video games. Like, I get it. That's how people some people make their money. So get that. But there's no reason to be rude and just straight up offensive to somebody because they're female, because their female voice is coming through your phone. I mean, so your headphones. So I hope that this walkout can further shed the light and put even more weight behind this lawsuit, and for people to kind of, if they didn't know about it, understand that this indeed is a thing that happens in workplaces, and it needs to stop.
Yeah, agree with you, Wendy. Absolutely. And highlighting it, focusing on it, and to people thinking that we've moved on past Me Too because everyone's aware now of this stuff. It's not true. This is the next hill, the next mountain to climb, is to kind of look at these things, make people aware that this is still happening in big businesses, and call it out, and make sure that these cultures change from the bottom up. Again, this idea that because you live in Hollywood, you live in LA, somehow you've got a ownership of progressiveness, and it's not true. In a lot of places, in a lot of studios, a lot of these places, It is a bro culture. Yes, even the nerds are nerd broing in those cultures and can be quite toxic for women in those environments. So I get it. Certainly I've heard it from some of our fellow female friends who are hosts as freelance hosts in separate channels they've gone to, that sometimes they've encountered that kind of stuff from certain people. So you get that in this situation. And so to me, I think highlighting it, bring attention to it, that's all positive, and making sure people are aware of it, and making these large scale protests that are visible for the media to cover is a great way to make sure that other companies are looking at this and going, man, maybe we need to clean some stuff up here ourselves, because we're stacking up these complaints,
Yeah, and I see you guys sounding it off in the in the chat there, not just about your own work experience in toxic workplaces, but as well as gaming experiences. I left the company just because of abusive practices. A lot of people are making the same exodus. Pay is not worth the abuse. Read that again. Pay is not worth the abuse. It's not. And companies are barely figuring that out. Like, you have no idea that some of the abuse that you maybe you yourself don't even categorize as abuse, later on, once you've moved on this, from this job, just because there was an opportunity there for you to move, and later on something else happens that triggers some sort of like a PTSD experience, and you have to look back to where it started, and it roots in a lot of times, toxic workplaces and experiences like that, where you don't realize you're undervalued, you're abused, and you are being made feel like you're worthless. Like, I know, speaking from my experience, and like probably you, Rocha, like we, having had so many jobs growing up, like we've definitely experienced it. And same thing goes for gaming, so
yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's true. And a lot of people, like you said in the chat here, kind of giving their own experiences and whatever. And Daniel Haygood, I left the highest paying job at a law firm because it was a horrible environment earlier this year. Sometimes you don't know you're in a toxic environment until you get out of it. Sometimes you don't know that you're in a toxic situation until you get out of it. And all of a sudden, the thing you were most afraid of was getting out of underneath that toxicity. You were afraid of what was going to come next, if you could succeed or pay your bills or make any money, blah, blah, blah. Once you remove yourself from that toxicity, you'd be surprised at how much other doors start to open, healthier things start to pop up for you, because you're saying, I don't want this energy in my life anymore. And sometimes you make those moves and they lead to positive things for you. So I applaud everybody who is saying they've been in these terrible work environments and have gotten out of them, because that's the way to go, for sure. Human resources. Sometimes it can be a help. Sometimes it can be a hindrance. It depends on what kind of human. I've seen, let me tell you, I worked at a job years ago where the human resources was all about protecting the company and not about protecting the workers. It blew my mind. I worked for this company, and I'm not going to say what company it was, but we would be just so shocked at some of the suggestions from the human resources person. It was because she wanted to keep her job so desperately for this company that she tried to twist our thoughts, our feelings, our issues, our problems with management to make it seem as if somehow we were misinterpreting consistently across a wide number of people from different walks of life, the stuff that we were hearing and seeing and the treatment we were getting from some people in power. So hopefully you have a good human resources department. That isn't always the case, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who can give you bad experiences with human resources, for sure, because they try to protect the company, not necessarily protect the employee. All right, let's. Clarence Bell says hello. Clarence Bell says hello from Panama. Great show as usual. Oh, thank you, Clarence. Very kind of you for us.
Thank you.
All right, and Wendy, we got one more thing. Simone,
she's withdrawn herself from the Olympics, and she says she wanted to focus on her mental health. So before I because this is not new news. This happened a little bit a few days ago, as we're in the midst of the Olympics here. And Rocha, you and I have said from like I think it was last week, like, why is this year's Olympics so dramatic? It's so weird. There's something it's more than just COVID at this point. It's just weird stuff going on. But she said that she had to focus on her mental health, which I totally get. And it's not just like the weight of the competition. As I read more into it, gymnasts and divers will like get this thing called twisties. Okay. So I don't know if you've seen any of her routines. The girl is a powerhouse. She's like not human.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can bounce that high up in the air, twist that many times around. So the twisties, this happens to lots of gymnasts and lots of divers, where you have to perform. And as you train your body, because once you're in the air, you have to, first of all, you have to commit. If you bail, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't second guess what you're doing up there. And the twisties disorients you. So it makes you, all of a sudden, when you're training, you do the move over and over and over, first into a pit. You don't do it on the floor. So you can, like landing badly wouldn't be a consequence to you until you learn the rotations and the way your body feels. So it's kind of like that muscle memory. Yeah. Going into your body when you're doing these really complex moves that she's doing, like the triple double or the double triple. I don't remember if it's the other one, but it's
triple X. Yeah.
The crazy stuff that she does. And when she realized that she's not in the right headspace, partially due to the twisties, she knew she had to get herself out of the competition, because if she keeps going, it's going to continue to affect her, and it's not only going to hurt the team, it could end her career. She could land the wrong way. She's either dead because she breaks her neck, or she's paralyzed for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
So I think it was, smart for her to one, make that decision for herself and go, this is not safe for me or my team. I'm gonna, walk away from this. And two, for the Olympics, for the U.S. gymnastics team to be behind her decision. She knew when she made a decision, because all eyes are on her right now, for the U.S. gymnastics. Like, she knew that there would be backlash that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dominic Mosiano came out and supported her. Carrie Strug came out and supported her.
And I think Michael Phelps, too.
Twitter, yeah, Michael Phelps, who did a documentary for HBO about what he went through with his mental health as he was winning all those medals. I would encourage you all to watch it. It's on HBO Max. Fantastic documentary that explores mental health. You all know I've had my own struggles with mental health since 2016. I absolutely understand this. I immediately, when someone says it and speaks about it, when they're in a high pressure situation, I create a massive amount of space for understanding, because people don't know. People don't know. None of you, nobody, and I don't mean none of you to point fingers or anything, but nobody knows, or a select few really know what the pressure is like to be the top gymnast in your country, to step into a situation where you've won multiple gold medals in Olympics in the past. This is your last go at the Olympics. And you've got all this pressure on you and judgment on you and expectations on you. And you hit that wall where you're like, you know what? I'm not feeling it today. It's not happening today. I don't have it in me. Rather than injuring herself after she did, I think, 1.5 axle instead of
it was on the vault where she stumbled her landing. And for someone, for someone like her, like it's not just the pressure getting to her. She's already been through the Olympics. She survived the whole the sexual abuse. She's she's a survivor. So I don't sit here and tell us that she can't handle the pressure from competition. Okay, she's been there, done that. So especially this year, I think without the spectators, I think there's less of that she has to put on a show. She's just there to do her routine, to perfect it and win. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, something's really off. So
to me, it's funny. People who've never become the best at what they've chosen to do with their life, or just going after her on Twitter. People people who are just have no concept and want to judge. Oh, country. Kiss my ass with that stuff. We're all human beings. We all have this pressure on us, and they don't know. Those people don't know what it's like working their regular jobs. They have no idea. What if you had to work your regular job and 50,000 people were watching you work your regular job, and every time you made a mistake, came back late for lunch, or you dropped something, or you sent the wrong email or whatever, and they were just like, oh no, you suck. You suck, James. I mean, how many of you all would be able to really handle it, or how many of the people out there who are criticizing her would be able to handle it? I'm going to go with zero. Yeah. So That's
not
the
easy.
thing. So yeah, so create space. I mean, we have to start changing our point of view on this whole thing. People are so afraid to create space for understanding people with mental health issues or people who kind of can't do it on the day of because of the overwhelming amount of mental health pressure, and claim that they're weak in some way, shape, or form. But we don't check in on those people who were strong that day and how that messed with them PTSD wise or their body. Look at all those broken down NFL players who played through the pain or played through the madness or the mental health stuff, and look at them now and see how broken down they are for our pleasure. We move on. Their family members have to deal with the brokenness afterwards. And that's something we need to change in our culture. It doesn't mean we're weak. That's stupidity you're seeing from people who, are eating 5 Big Macs at every dinner, telling other people how they should be. It's just ridiculous to me on so many levels. That's
worry about yourself and not other people. And for the people who are worried about for the country or whatever, don't forget she is not Team USA. She is a part of Team USA.
Right, she's a part.
So
exactly.
right. So while she is freaking fantastic, amazing, so are her teammates. They all made it to the Olympics. Yes. So they're all amazing. I think I saw a comment earlier. Suni Lee. Yeah. Suni Lee, she gold medal. I mean, won. Exactly. So, and also if Simone breaks herself, if let's say she didn't pull herself out of the competition, right, and she tries to push through this, and knock on wood, injures herself permanently, then what? Then for the country, what? She's not going to be able to represent our country anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, USA is great. Team USA is great. We love them, but it's just not. It's not. It doesn't sit all on one person's shoulder. She's on a team.
And her stepping aside allowed Sini Lee to win the individual gold. So I think that's a fantastic thing, in the end. So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Andrew Russell says, just showing some support for the dynamic duo. Another great show.
Thank you.
Always. Thank you, Andrew. And Ryan Gillespie and Jessica Stutz subscribe to the channel. So thank you very much. All right. Where are we off to next?
We are on to #trending.
Oh, trending.
We can kind of expedite this. There's a lot of trailers that were dropped all throughout this week. Includes not a final look, but a TV spot for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings called Need. There's the A24 Lamb. There's The Last Duel. There's Blue Bayou, and so many more. Rocha, did you get to look at all of them? And if you did, which one stood out to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, Shang-Chi Need, I mean, that's great to see more of Shang-Chi. I'm cool with that. Enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. There's also a featurette that's out there for people to watch as well. Another one that's out. Lamb was wicked weird. So I don't know.
Let's talk about that.
All right, go ahead, please.
So I should have known. I should have realized it was going to get weird because it was A24, and you and I both love a good A24 film.
Hell yeah.
And it was funny because I was watching this precious moment of the babies being born. I was like, oh, lambs, ah! And then just the music was kind of just too quiet, too eerie. And I think I watched back our reaction video, and I think I didn't even realize I said this. I was nervously playing with my hair all of a sudden because that's how uncomfortable the trailer made me feel. And I said to Dustin, I don't remember saying this, we're okay, right? Obviously, we're not okay. It's a human lamb child in this with the mama lamb wanting her lamb back. It is I don't even know what it's about. So does somebody is it just nope, I'm not going to go there. Is it a phenomenon? Is it just a phenomenon? Did they pray very hard for a child? She was at the graveyard. She was at a cemetery. Did they lose a child? And did she pray? Please give me another child. So then through the birth of a new lamb, they got their child.
Yeah.
Because somebody was like, oh, they dress up their goat. I'm like, no. That thing's walking on 2 feet. You don't dress up like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or one of these dudes had sex with the lamb, and that's what we got.
It's not possible. It's 2 different sets of DNA. Impossible. No.
Okay. I just love that they play the Beach Boys songs in this, right? Because I mean, the Beach Boys songs are used in Love Actually for real romances, but this is something completely maddening, and I don't know what to expect from this. To be honest with you, it's insane. I want to watch
it.
Yeah. Oh no.
It. I can't.
What's the symbolism here, though? What's the symbolism of the lamb, of the half lamb child? Is this about nature? Is this about humanity? Is this about the constant battle between nature and man. Like, look, I mean, the lamb head,
the Mother Nature at the end of the title card, the word nature was turned upside down.
Oh, right.
And when things are upside down, like when you read tarot cards, sometimes they're not great when things are turned upside down.
All right.
So you kind of don't want that. Oh my God. Daniel says my jaw was on the floor watching that trailer.
This isn't like, what was the one? Sweet Tooth. This isn't like Sweet Tooth. This is something completely different. Sweet Tooth is like a sweet approach to a.
It's literally a whole different category, which got renewed, I believe, for season 2.
Yes, absolutely right.
Oh, level 2 training says it's about crossbreeding. Obviously, no. Why did I read that one out loud? I should have read it to myself. But that is an interesting trailer, and you bet I'm gonna watch it. You bet.
We'll see. Mormouth House says just came out of Snake Eyes. Good movie for what it is. Did not like the shakiness of some of the action scenes. Yeah, I think you
agreed.
Reiterate what Wendy Lee said last week as well in the review for sure. Rocha figuring out.
I'm glad he enjoyed it though.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You should go to the movie, enjoy it if you can. Absolutely.
Rocha's figuring out the lamb script. Dustin had this whole like, maybe it's like the God of Lamb or Lamb of God, and I was like, I don't know any of that religious stuff. I didn't grow up with that, so I don't know. I'm afraid to deep dive into it. Was Hereditary also an A24 film?
Yes. So was Midsommar.
So these images are going to be these images. Look, I watched Hereditary on a plane to Taiwan because I thought I was going to be safe because the screens are like, just a little bit smaller than like an iPad. I was like, I'm going to be safe. It's going to be fine. The images are still in my brain, and I felt really bad for the poor woman who sat next to me because I kept on like pulling my hood, and I was like this watching, and she at one point she's kind of like she's watching, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I watched a cartoon for the rest of the trip. It's still in my head though.
Oh yeah, that's a heck of a movie. That's ridiculous. Tony Collette's scream will never leave my brain. Daniel Haygood said, feeling a little overloaded on the Shang-Chi advertising, to be honest, but I think it also means that no more movies are going to Disney Plus same day because they are ferociously marketing it. Yeah, probably. It's a great way to look at it for sure.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is this a sequel to Silence of the Lambs?
It's a whole different meaning. Oh my God.
All right, what's our next thing, Wendy, on what's trending? Let's take a look at this. What's going on here?
Oh, we got a first look at an image from the upcoming Disney Plus Marvel series Hawkeye. We've got Jeremy Renner, playing Clint, and Haley Steinfeld playing. Oh no, my notes went down.
Oh, playing Kate Bishop, yes.
Yes. All my notes just went away. Anyways, looks like they're in like I'll just go off book. It's fine. Looks like they are in some sort of like I don't know. There's Christmas lights, so it may be an underground, her own training space. Got a lot of arrows, targets, all that stuff. Looking like a little meaningful conversation. Looks like to me maybe Jeremy Renner here has got like a backpack on. I don't know if he's about to be off and go do his Avengers duty.
Let's take a look here.
Right there. That's right it. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah.
I like that she's in the purple sweatsuit. Not a lot of people can pull off a purple sweatsuit. So shout out to Haley Steinfeld.
Yes.
But does it look like he's taking off? Does it look like he's like handing the mantle here and removing himself? I don't know. So this is interesting. Yeah.
I'm betting this image is episode 1 or 2.
Yeah.
There's no way this image is from later. Disney's very good at keeping things under wraps. And I don't think they would release anything that's like, like watch me be wrong, but like I don't think this is any way like last shot of of the series.
Yeah, I mean, Miss Marvel and Hawkeye are supposed to come out this year. So because now Hawkeye's been moved up to November.
Yes.
What is the reason? Do you think that's going to come out never? Do you think that's actually going to keep its date? Do you think?
Yeah, I think that it'll keep the date because they people don't move things up because they want to. People move things up because they're excited or it will make sense for whatever upcoming MCU film or TV show that'll make sense in. It's a whole like moving puzzle all the time with the MCU, especially now with the TV show in the mix. And earlier, Disney Plus said that they would be releasing all new shows on Wednesdays only. So I questioned that, and so I looked at the calendar. I looked at the calendar. This is supposed to be out November, I think 24th.
Yeah.
So I think Miss Marvel is supposed to come out. What is it, before that?
Yes.
So I don't know if that means the two shows inevitably are going to overlap on the same day of the episodes or what. And I also thought that the book of, and this is now not Marvel anymore, but the Book of Boba Fett was supposed to come out in December of this year. So then are we expecting Hawkeye to be 6 episode long, and then maybe they end it on the 22nd and give us 2 episodes on the 24th? This is speculation. I know nothing.
Right.
Because I just don't see how Disney would want to bottleneck their own shows.
Yeah, I mean, November 24th is when it's supposed to come out, with new episodes coming each Wednesday. If the series is 6 episodes, that would give us... This is Jermaine Lucier, right, who I really respect.
Jermaine's great.
Yeah, enjoy his work here on Gizmodo. And he said that would give us Hawkeye right into the new year. So you got the first official image, but he says it leaves a bunch of unanswered questions, like where's Clint's family? Are they in this? How do they cope with being snapped? How is Clint doing now that his family's back, considering he spent 5 years as a murderous, vengeance-crazed assassin?
Ronan.
And what about the other assassin who is apparently going to be coming after him, Yelena from Black Widow? So many questions, not many answers. Also, with the November 24th release date, he says this: any rumor that Miss Marvel would be coming to Disney in 2021 is probably kaput. A 6-week Hawkeye run would hypothetically put its finale on December 29th, with an assembled the week after that. The earliest Miss Marvel could debut is January 12th. So that's a fair point to bring up. But Victoria Alonso said that both those shows are coming out in 2021. So I don't know how they're going to do that with so many different moving pieces with both of these shows. And
they're going to do their own crossover, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Like maybe Hawkeye owns Wednesdays and Miss Marvel owns Fridays. I don't know.
But they said specifically that all shows are going to be debuting now on a Wednesday.
Oh, right, true.
They said that earlier, which I didn't love, because I was like, no, spread it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't imagine reacting to 2 shows in one day. That's a lot. That's at least an hour to hour and a half of my time just watching something and then having to edit.
Wendy's sleep patterns. Those are not going to be pretty.
I'm just going to be a vampire. It's going to be great. I'll be in Blade.
It's going to be great.
God.
Hi, John. I like The Green Knight. What did you think? I'm not going to tell you because I'm dropping my review later on tonight around 6. I recorded it before I started this episode. I'm going to edit it for the next hour and a half after we're done and get it up by 6 o'clock. Hopefully. It's nice. 20 minutes, so I got to cut it down to 12 or 10. I don't want the review to be too long, so I've got
20 minutes. You have to be a 2-parter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm learning that unless they're live reviews, people are not going to sit and watch a 20-minute review. I mean,
right? Because in live review, they can go back and forth with you on a live, but if they're just watching, they might click out after 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Who knows?
We got 135 you watching us live right now. Thank you very, very much. Please remember to hit that like button. We're at 97 likes. Let's get over 100 likes. Let's get over 125 likes before we end the show in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Wendy, anything else on trending? We got some K-pop stuff. Do you want to talk about it?
K-pop corner coming in. We've got a teaser, like a music video teaser for SOMI. SOMI is I don't want to say she's new to the industry. She's young in age, but she's been in it for quite a while. Yeah. She is under the Black label, which is a sister label to YG Entertainment, who artists like Blackpink and Big Bang and many others are Icon, Winner, and all those are a part of. So she's getting ready for her comeback, which I'm very excited for. The single is called Dum Dum, and there's a very quick teaser of her in various outfits performing just a shortened segment of the song with basically the music taking out. And YG and Black Label both do, because they're kind of sister companies. Yeah, do such a great job producing not just music video, but the teases, because you kind of get that tease, the flavor of what the song's going to be, and then it can sound completely different and better once you actually get the full thing. So the full song and music video will release on August 8th at 6 p.m., but it's Korean time, so I don't know what time that would be here. I think they're like way ahead, so it's probably like midnight or 2 a.m. or something crazy like that. I'll probably be doing a reaction on my channel. The video is usually almost always demonetized because it's music. It's music. Yeah. It's music, but I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love K-pop, and I love SOMI. Her first single that I remember is Birthday, which I absolutely love. She's super cute, and in this one, she just looks like she's grown as an artist too. Like the way her voice sounds. Like I kind of love it that they're not having her sing in like a higher register. Like she's more in her like natural tone, which I love. So I can't wait.
Yeah, it was cute. It was 15 seconds. She's like in high school or something. It's pretty cool. It's fun. Vibrant colors. Like the way it looks. Like the way it ended with her leading the pack. So to me, this is a good look. I like this. I'm curious to see what we're going to get more of and what this means. And it seems to be, and maybe I'm just getting on the K-pop train. Wendy's been, Wendy's been doing the Snowpiercer on this thing around and around. So
every week.
I just happened to catch on to it last week. But is this a part of K-pop doing trailers for their stuff? Is this
100%?
Is this a new? Okay. So this is still a part
yeah,
because
Stray Kids did that too. They don't like. I mean, each label and each artist are different. Like Stray Kids decided to pull out like a full on like actual trailer for their upcoming movie. With their productions, like all the like how we put like here like money goes into big productions, like a Marvel movie, like a DCEU movie, like a Star Wars movie. Over there, K-pop. Okay. Everything K-pop, which is great because like you can even go into like a YG or one of their label companies, the building. There's a public level. You can have coffee in the shop there, because you can sometimes maybe see like a K-pop idol walk out in and out of that building. So people, it's like a tourist destination. Like people go. I would 100% go to all of them. Get all the coffee.
Fair enough. We got a Streamlab that came in from my brother Mike Shea, who runs the Outlaw Nation page on Facebook and is one of my mods and patrons and the executive producer for the Ultimate Schmodown After Show that you guys enjoy on Saturdays. He says, "Hey, Wendy and John, love you both. Love the show. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
What's the over-under on when they're going to finally drop a trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home? For the love of God, it comes out in 140 days. Wendy?
Over and under what?
Did
they give a percentage?
Oh, yeah. What's your percentage, Mike? You just said what's the over-under.
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
Oh, when? Yeah, when?
A when?
Oh.
Okay, the movie comes out December, Christmas Eve?
Yeah, it's No Way Home. It comes out December 17th, 2021.
Okay, let me go on my calendar here.
Yeah.
December 21st. I think, we're still really far away from it. I don't think we're going to get one until September.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When Shang-Chi comes out.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit before. Or right after.
Yeah. September. You've got Shang-Chi coming in September 3rd. Venom comes September 24th. So I think Wendy's absolutely right. I think we are going to see a trailer probably in September. I think that's when we're going to see it. So Mike Shea, I know you've been clamoring about this on Twitter, and I respect your social media stick-to-itiveness about this, but I think you should relax through August, and then in September you'll get the trailer.
Watch me say this, and tonight, like at some like undisclosed time, it's like, here's the trailer you've all been waiting for. All the reactors run to their TV, their stations. It's go time.
Yeah, it's like they're not the new press from the 1940s. What? You said what? Mr. Mayor, come on, I gotta get the editor.
There, see?
Story.
Breaking news, I tell you, breaking news.
Breaking news, put it together. All right, let's do this real quick. We'll do our coming soon and recommended, I think, all in one jumble here, Wendy, as we end the show here, because I don't want to go too much over. What have you got coming soon? What do you recommend right now? And we'll review Jungle Cruise real quickly. So what do you recommend, and what is coming soon for you?
Coming soon is Marvel's What If, debuting on Disney Plus, August 11th. I can't wait for this. It's going to be, from what we've seen in the trailers, it looks so good. I'm very interested in that zombie episode. I'm very interested in seeing T'Challa as Star-Lord. Yeah. So many what if possibilities. I can't wait.
Zombie Avengers. Hell yes.
Yes.
What do you recommend?
I recommend this new game that I just picked up not too long ago. It just came out, and it's a sequel to the original of the same name, The World Ends With You. The sequel is called Neo, The World Ends With You. It's an RPG where you play as a character named Rindo, who is in Shibuya. So the whole thing takes place in Shibuya. And what you don't know is that you've involuntarily become a part of something called the Reapers game. You have 7 days to fulfill missions and fight noises that are called the monsters. And if you can succeed in all the missions and beat the final boss and all that stuff, you can go back to living your normal living, human life. And if you don't, you are erased forever.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Whoa. It's a lot of fun. I just started streaming it on Twitch yesterday, so I'll probably stream more on Sunday.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun. I actually watched on Twitch the voice actor of Rindo playing this game. Oh, and really? And I was just like, I shouldn't watch this because it's gonna spoil some of the parts for me. But I could not watch because he was sitting there I was just like, dude, he's doing all the voice. I mean, it's not him, but he's doing the best he can with trying to do all the other voices. It was just fantastic to watch. So I followed him on Twitch.
I like it. I've got a show a mini series coming out from oh God, what's the director? It's Cocaine Cowboys, the Kings of Miami. Right. I got to interview him at Collider a while ago. We follow each other on Twitter. I'm sorry, I can't remember the director's name right now. The name is
director, Billy Corgan.
Yeah, Billy Corgan. That's it. I get confused because the name of the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins is very similar. So sometimes I get kind of confused, and I don't want to say the wrong name. But yes, it's Billy Corgan, not Billy Corgan. That's the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, who also owns a professional wrestling company, the NWA. So, but Billy Corgan's been doing this Cocaine Cowboy series for the last few years. The great documentaries, unsettlingly great documentaries. He did a fantastic one about juicing in baseball. If you haven't seen that one, I think it's called Screwball. That came out a couple of years ago. But this is his next installment in the Cocaine Cowboy series, The Kings of Miami. It's a 6-part saga on South Florida traffickers indicted in one of the largest drug cases in U.S. history. It's a 6-part series on Netflix. It's coming this Wednesday. So I recommend that for anybody who's into those kind of true life crime type stuff, which is pretty insane. And what else was the other thing that we wanted to say? That's coming soon. So that's
coming soon. And
all right,
recommend.
Yeah. So you recommend the Neo thing. I also, what else do I recommend? What am I watching right now? What are we watching right now?
What are you watching right now?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you all are into this stuff, but my girlfriend and I sometimes like to watch detective shows from other countries. So we will read subtitles. And have I already pitched this show, Wendy, on this? I don't forget what shows I pitched stuff on. But there's a show on Amazon Prime. It's called Professor T. Have I told you about this?
I don't think you have.
Okay.
Doesn't ring a bell.
It's a really interesting show. And there is a British version that's come out recently. It's on PBS now here on the States. It came out on ITV, I think, in Britain. But he's a guy who is on the spectrum, but he's a professor, and he's incredibly intelligent about criminal behavior and criminology. So these 2 young detectives in Belgium, he's a professor in Belgium, and they use him, or they employ him to help solve crimes. But you find out that he had a previous relationship with the chief of detectives there at that particular precinct, which bleeds into this situation. The captain of the 2 detectives doesn't like him, so it causes problems. And the captain is dealing with the death of his daughter, who was run over by a drunk driver. His daughter. So he is raising his granddaughter with him, and his wife are raising the granddaughter, but he is still broken up about it, wants vengeance. So it's fascinating exploration of this guy who's on the spectrum, and they're solving crimes, and it's all in Belgian, but there is English subtitles there on Amazon Prime. There's 13 episodes in the first season. We are transfixed by this. And the first season came out, I think 3 years ago, and it's into its 3rd season. And another one that I'll throw out there that my girlfriend discovered the other day is that the 3rd season is out now, but I'm sure the first 2 seasons are somewhere. The Woodworking Show with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman. Working It, the craft show, reality show. She loves it. She loves it. So
I love it for those 2. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been around for
woodworking
now. They do woodworking and crafts. So they bring in, it's essentially like the Great British Bake Off, but for crafts. And so it's
how
all
did I not know
Alphaman.
about this?
Yeah,
I love crafts.
I don't know. It's Alphaman and Polar. Every season they're bringing like 6 to 8 people, and then of course every week one person is voted off, and they have these challenges that they have to do. So I recommend that show. As we were watching the other night, I was like, "This is not a bad show. It's not a bad show." So there you go.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, third season is on HBO, I think, but the other 2 seasons might be on Netflix. So I don't know yet. All right, and should we talk about Jungle Cruise real quick?
Yes, unless you want to get to Mora Moth's super chat real quick.
He said, is he a savant on the spectrum? No, not a savant in the sense that he can, predict things. More a matter of like he can read people really, really well. And just looks at the case file and then watches them in interrogation and can tell who's lying and who's not lying and figures out what the actual truth is, what's happening. And so the other people have to catch up to where he's at. So it's a really interesting exploration every episode. And there's personal stories going on. So it's not just solving the case. There's also like real relationship shit going on between the characters. So I like it. So there you go.
Nice recommendation.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's talk about Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise. I had so much fun watching this movie, and I had no doubt that I was going to absolutely love the dynamic and the chemistry between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, and that is what really made this movie special because of, well, Emily Blunt's such a great actress, the way she captures and reacts to certain things. It's so unique and different. I love watching her work, and I also found it funny that, like, I don't know why I didn't connect the two, but she literally was already in a Disney movie prior to this, which is Mary Poppins.
Right.
So I just kept on thinking, I'm like, how funny is it that now she is like this, doctor who is chasing after a very rare flower in the Amazons that has incredible healing property that could change the future of medicine, where she goes down the Amazon River, but she needs a guide. So she comes across Dwayne Johnson, who... Dustin said it best. Like, he's like, oh, Dwayne played himself, but in the best way possible. Yeah. Like, he's such a charming person, and you met him. Yeah. And I met him briefly as well, like years ago. So I think it makes sense. And also more than just their relationship, I love this adventure that they took us on, and they had various different elements from the jungle, from the other people who are after the same thing, and we also get character arcs and various character stories, like Emily Blunt's, well, should I say Lily, Dr. Lily Houghton's, her brother is also kind of a part of the ride, and he's Jack Whitehall's so great and was a much bigger part of the story than I expected. And he's not just there for comic relief. So I enjoy seeing like everybody and their, especially the trio, I will say, together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have fun watching this one?
Oh, I did. I loved it. I had such a great time enjoying this. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, is this going to be one of those films? But, it is a fun film. It is an absolute summer movie film. Do not go in here looking for depth and all this. No, this is fun. There is a nice twist that I think they earn near the end of the movie that I think totally, absolutely works. But I love the relationship between The Rock and Emily Blunt. A lot of people, I saw the Vulture critic kind of bash their chemistry. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? The chemistry between them is off the charts. They work so well together. And the story is, they're going after the Tears of the Moon. There's a connection to an old Spanish expedition from back in the 1500s or whatever, or whenever it was. And you've got good actors here with Edgar Ramirez as Aguirre, which is the expedition person who is from Spain there from the 1500s. Then you have Jesse Plemons as Prince Joaquin. He is so funny. Jesse
Plemons is so funny in this.
Right, he's so funny. And so one of the reviews was like, "Oh, he's not even threatening." And I was like, no, because this isn't that kind of fucking movie.
He's the Mohaha one. Yeah, he's your stereotypical mustache. He doesn't really have a mustache like to twirl in this one, but he kind of plays that character. And I think Jesse Plemons was such a great choice because you could tell, like, he usually does a little darker, more dramatic stuff, like Black Mirror especially. And I think he just had fun wearing the costume and just go overboard. Like, he knew exactly what the character was going to be. When he read the script, he's just like, he got it. Yeah. And he portrayed it. I had fun watching him. I was like, this is great, because this movie, what's unique about it, it's not just one villain. Right, the jungle itself is also a villain. There's this whole lore of like the Spanish Acquisition and like a whole like what happened there and the root of the medicine flower.
Yes.
There was only my one criticism for this movie is one of the choices, our two main characters, one of them makes a choice at the end, which I don't believe aligned with the rest of what their messaging and personality had been. But when they chose this, I was like, I mean, okay, we're already in the final. Fine, I had such a fun time watching the movie, but I thought that the choice was very out of character.
I think that's a fair point.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
And my thing I would ding it on is that I said this in my review, which is up on the channel. I put it up last night. Is my issue with it is the only thing I would ding it on is the way they treat some of the indigenous characters in the movie. Like they're presented in a way that is subservient to a certain character in the movie because of past relationship or whatever. And I think this is where I felt like I wanted them to have a bit more agency, in so many comedies, so many of these adventure films, we have these indigenous characters to their region and they don't necessarily become an essential part of the story. And I would like to have seen more of that, them become more a part of the story, especially Veronica Falcone, who plays kind of the main female indigenous person there. She's great in the limited screen time they have. There's no way there isn't more you could have done with her, make her part of the journey, make her part of the adventure, make her have some kind of knowledge at a critical moment as the journey goes along. And I thought they could have done more with that. So that's something I dinged it on. I think we're past that kind of old school interpretation of indigenous people, which never really existed, by the way. Indigenous people have been very intelligent about certain things for the entire existence they've been around. It's just the interpretation we've had through other media of indigenous people has kind of warped our point of view of them. And I didn't like that they kind of defaulted on that with that a little bit, even though they gave them lines and made them, have the certain scenes where they had some power. I thought they could have had more here in the film, myself personally. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. But
you see a sequel?
Absolutely. I mean, how could I think the box office, we'll see what the box office is, but I'll be shocked if this thing doesn't do
such a fun movie. I just had like a big smile from beginning to end. Oh, the Metallica song was in the film.
Yes.
Twice.
The Metallica song is in the film, ladies and
gentlemen. There's also that.
And I liked Paul Giamatti, who I thought was very funny as well.
Yeah, that's right. Very nice.
It's good action sequences. Brian Brawler says, yes, Wendy, I'm playing that right now.
Yes, it's so good. The video game, so good. Yeah, I'll be streaming on Sunday if anybody wants to come by. Twitch.tv/Wendy Lee Zaney.
What time are you streaming? Have you got it yet?
No, I have no idea. I don't set a schedule because I don't know what my work day is like.
Welcome to Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Twitch. It's so true.
If a self-tape comes in, I drop everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The trailer drops out. I have to drop everything I'm doing. All right, well, let's wrap it up there. We've gone way over time. Thank you all so much for joining us and hanging out with us for another fun episode of John and Wendy Explain the World. Over 135 of you guys watching us right now. Can't thank you enough for joining us. We got 120 likes. Let's get to 125 likes as we wrap up the show. If you haven't hit a thumbs up button on this thing, do it right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Thanks for all the Streamlabs super chats. We appreciate it madly. Wendy, thanks for another fun episode today. Where can they find you and everything you got going on, please?
Thanks, John. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wendy Lee Zaney, just my name right over here. You can find me over at the Movie Couple channel on YouTube. Just search the Movie Couple, where we do trailer reactions, show reactions to mostly Star Wars and Marvel stuff, movie reviews, vlogs, and so much more. And of course, twitch.tv/Wendy Lee Zaney to watch me fail terribly at video games, because I'm not the best at them, but I love playing them. John's on Twitch too. Yay.
I am. The Outlaw Nation, all one word. You can join me there on Twitch. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Oh, and I want to give a special shout out to our brothers over there at Real Rejects, Wendy, getting Margot Robbie and David Dastmalchian for that duo interview. Fantastic watch. Go, if you haven't watched that with Greg Alba interviewing them both from the Real Rejects, go and watch it on their channel. They're fantastic. Couple of guys, and that video was so much fun to watch. The Greg stumbling over himself and just I've never seen Greg Alba like that, so it was a joy to watch him be a little bit unsettled and kind of awkward a little bit, which was very cute. So go and watch it.
He was at a wedding too.
Oh yeah, was that why he was dressed up?
Yeah, he was at a wedding and he got the email or the phone call. He's like, "Oh, I gotta do this."
Yeah, that makes sense.
Luckily, the hotel Wi-Fi seemed to be holding up great. Usually, it's not the best, so good on him.
You take the opportunity when you can get it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, that's what we got going on here. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell button as well. Dropping that the Green Knight trailer later on today. Dropped the House of Gucci trailer reaction earlier today, and then tomorrow we're dropping 8 in the morning the Ted Lasso review for episode 2. Shannon McClung from the Geek Buddies joining me for about 25 minutes where we discuss the second episode of the second season. A lot happened in that episode. So look for that. All right. Take care of yourselves. Be well, everybody. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there. That variant is no joke. Wear your mask, wash your hands, do all the things you were doing before. You don't want to catch this thing. Be safe and come back and join us next week for another live episode of John and Wendy Explain the World. Peace.